The story begins with a voiceover by the hero who says, "Everyone loves rain. People consider it a blessing. But in my life, rain has only ever brought me pain." Then we see the hero, Akid, standing in the rain as someone stabs his father and runs away. This scene is then shown again, in reverse. A few years later, we see Akid visiting a psychiatrist. He tells the doctor a few things, which are then shown to us as a flashback. Akid's father used to tell him a lot about time travel, and Akid would be shocked to learn that such a thing could even exist. His father explained that in their family, generation after generation, they had the power to travel back in time. "You have that power too, son," his father said, "but it'll only work once you turn 18. Back in the present, the doctor laughs at this and says, "What kind of joke is this?" Akid replies, "It's not a joke, doctor. It's the truth. I can time travel, only to the past, not the future." "If you don't believe me," Akid says, "I'll give you a demo." He asks the doctor to write 5 random numbers on his notepad. The doctor does it. Then, for just a second, Akid disappears and reappears. He time travels and returns to the same spot. Just then, the doctor gets a phone call. Akid tells him, "Pick up the call. It's your wife. She'll remind you not to forget the bread and eggs she asked you to bring." The doctor answers the call, and sure enough, his wife says exactly that. The doctor, shocked, says, Akid then tells the doctor the exact numbers he wrote earlier. The doctor is stunned and asks how he could possibly know that. Akid explains, "I went a few minutes into the past when your wife called about the bread and eggs. As for the number, you told it to me yourself back then." But the doctor is still confused and skeptical. Akid says, "To truly understand this, you need to know about my past." The doctor agrees. "All right, tell me your past." Akid begins his haunt flashback. When he turned 18, he asked his dad, "If we have this kind of power, why don't we use it to become rich?" His father responded, "I knew you'd say that. You think I didn't try? I did, many times. I changed the past, made myself rich, but the money never lasted." Then his father told him the rules of this power. Rule number 1, you can't use this power to earn money. Rule number 2, you can't change destiny. He gives an example. This flower will wither. If you try to stop it using your power, you will fail, because it's destined to wither. No matter what you do, it will always die. Then one day, Akid is sleeping when his mom wakes him up to go shopping. He gets ready, but for some reason, his mom is crying. His father tells him, "Your mom isn't feeling well. Let's just go buy the stuff ourselves." So father and son go shopping in heavy rain. Akid is loading plants and fertilizer into their vehicle when a thief runs by, having stolen a woman's purse. His father chases after the thief. Akid follows to help. In the struggle, the thief stabs Akid's father and escapes. Akid, overwhelmed, faints. As his father stumbles back to check on him, a car speeds toward them and hits his father, killing him on the spot. Now you might ask, since both Akid and his father could time travel, why didn't they? Well, Akid had fainted and was emotionally overwhelmed, so he couldn't use the power. His father was terrified, so he couldn't either. After the funeral, Akid tries to go back in time several times to save his dad. But just thinking about him fills Akid with such grief that he can't stay calm. And without a calm mind, he can't time travel. His mother tells him, "The police have caught the thief and the driver. Don't waste your time trying to use time travel. You can't bring your father back. It was his destiny to die. You can never change fate, so accept it. And never lose hope." Akid finally accepts this and moves on. He studies hard and becomes a police officer. After that, he never talks to anyone about his powers. One day, he's investigating a case involving a drug-addicted woman who's about to jump off a building with her daughter, knife to her neck. Akid arrives at the scene and tries his best to convince her to stop. But she doesn't listen. She jumps, killing both herself and her daughter. Akid, again overwhelmed by emotion, can't time travel immediately. He returns home, washes up, sits quietly, and sips his coffee. Again, he thinks, "I could go back and stop this." But now he's in shock. So he waits patiently, calms himself, and then time travels. This time it works. He appears on the rooftop. He realizes, talking to the mother won't help. Let me speak to the child. He convinces the little girl, and she in turn convinces her mother, saying, "Mom, I don't want to die." The moment her daughter said this, the woman had a change of heart and began to hope that the girl would survive. So, she decided not to take this step with her, and instead of jumping in, she retreated safely. He tells the doctor that he has a big problem with it. Every time I travel, my age decreases. For example, if I want to go back a year and change something, he has to sacrifice a year of his life. If I was originally supposed to live to be 60, and he goes back a year, his age decreases to 59. One night, he goes to a party with a friend. It's there that he meets Sarah for the first time. The moment he sees her, he's instantly smitten and completely out of it. Normally, he doesn't like parties, drinking, or any of that, so he goes and sits quietly by himself. Sarah sees him sitting alone and wonders why he's there alone, so she walks over to him and sits down with him. Then Sarah asks him, "Why are you sitting alone?" Akid replies, "I have no interest in parties and celebrations. I only came here to keep my friends happy, but now I'm bored." Sarah sits next to him, and they start talking. She likes the way Akid talks, and they begin getting closer. Just then, Sarah's friends return after the party ends. Sarah had come with a friend, but her friend had to leave early for some urgent work and couldn't drop Sarah home. So she asks Akid, "Please drop Sarah home." Akid agrees. When he drops her off, Sarah hands him an invitation and says, "If you find time, do come meet me." Since Akid had started liking her, he goes to meet her. He finds out she's in a martial arts class. Sarah is a karate trainer. She's throwing around and training some men fiercely. Akid watches her fight in awe. Seeing her, many parents enroll their kids in her martial arts school. After everyone leaves, Sarah asks him, "How was the fight? Were you bored?" Akid replies, "I'm a police officer myself. Why would I find a fight boring?" Hearing this, Sarah takes him to watch an MMA fight. The way she enjoys it makes Akid fall for her even more. They then go for gun shooting practice, to a restaurant, and Sarah starts teaching Akid karate. Slowly, their love story starts to take shape. One day, Akid tells his mother, "Mom, I love a girl named Sarah and I want to marry her." His mother says, "Son, think this through. Marriage, family, children, it's all a big responsibility." Akid replies, "I've thought about it. After Dad passed away, I was miserable. I was just existing. But after meeting Sarah, I found a will to live. I know I'll be very happy with her." His mom sees his confidence and agrees. Next scene. It's raining heavily. Akid meets Sarah, gives her a ring, and proposes. He says, "In the past few months we've spent together, I've learned a lot about you. I believe you've understood me too. Will you marry me?" Sarah says, "I need some time to think." Akid gets a little sad but says, "Take your time, think it through." But just then, Sarah comes running and says, "I love you too. I'll marry only you," and hugs him. A few days later, Akid accurately tells Sarah what amount of money is in her purse and what numbers are written in her diary. Sarah is shocked. How does he know this? Angrily, she uses her karate on him and asks, "Why didn't you tell me this before?" Akid says, "I hadn't planned to marry you earlier, but now that I do, I don't want to hide anything from you." Sarah replies, "So that means you can time travel, change all our fights and arguments, deceive me if you want, right?" Akid says, "No, I'd never do that. But think about it. Does time travel only bring good things? There are risks too." He explains that every time he travels back, he ages more. "My hair will go white early," he warned. "I'll die earlier than I should." Then she says, "Promise me you'll never use this ability again." The hero agrees and promises her. In the next scene, Akid and Sarah get married. Their life is going great. Akid enjoys every moment with her and vows never to use his time travel power again. When he finds out that Sarah is pregnant, his happiness doubles. Everything is perfect. Until one day, he ruins it all. Akid gets a call from the police station. Someone has taken a man hostage in a shop and is threatening to kill the hostage and himself. Akid rushes to the spot and calmly says, "I'm unarmed. I just want to talk. Please don't act in haste." The man replies, "Don't come near me, or I'll kill him." At the same time, Sarah goes into labor and is repeatedly calling Akid, but he's stuck and can't pick up. The hostage taker says, "Do you have kids? If not, you won't understand my pain. My wife died giving birth to our child. I've raised him alone. I wanted to give him a good life, but I lost my job. Haven't paid rent for months. The landlord is threatening to throw us out. I don't even have money for food. That's why I came to steal. Leave or I'll slit his throat. Akid says, if you kill him, you'll be punished. What will happen to your son then? Take this money, pay your rent, but please, let the man go. I won't file any case. The man changes his mind, takes the money, and releases the hostage. Akid then rushes to the hospital. Sarah and the baby are safe. They name their son Aziz. Then the doctor asks, is there anyone in your family with hemophilia? Akid says no, but Sarah says, yes, my grandmother had it. The doctor reveals that Aziz also has hemophilia. If he gets injured and starts bleeding, it won't clot quickly, and he could bleed a lot. From that point on, Akid and Sarah become very careful while raising him. Years pass, and Aziz turns 7. On his birthday, he says, I just want you both to be with me every birthday like this. Akid and Sarah are very happy, and Akid captures the moment. One day, Sarah is about to go out with Aziz, but the car won't start. It's raining heavily. She calls Akid, but he's busy and doesn't answer. So, she takes a cab. In the cab, she scolds Aziz. How many times have I told you not to fold your shirt sleeves? What if you get hurt and start bleeding? They reach their destination. While crossing the road on a green signal, suddenly, this scene is filmed, and Akid gets a call from the hospital that his wife and child have been killed in an accident. He doesn't get angry. Instead, he just becomes willing to do anything. He asks him, did I help you? And in return, you did this to my family? Just tell me, what time did you cause the accident? The man tells him the time, and Akid leaves him and walks out. Outside, he remembers that what happened to his wife and son now is the same thing that happened to his father years ago. Back then, he couldn't save his father, but this time he doesn't want to lose his family. So, he decides to time travel and save them. After calming himself down, Akid time travels to just before the accident involving Sarah and Aziz. But even this time, before he can reach the scene, the accident already happens, and both die. Though they die only once, Akid keeps going back to the past and watching that scene again and again, getting extremely stressed. At home, he takes out his anger by breaking things. Then he remembers his father's words. A flower is destined to wither. You cannot change fate. You have to accept it. So Akid accepts that Sarah and Aziz's death was fate, and no matter how hard he tries, he can't change it. In the present, Akid is telling all this to a doctor. The doctor says, if you really wanted to save your family, why didn't you time travel to 2 days before the accident and stop them from going out at all? Akid replies, Doctor, do you think I didn't think of that? I did. I even tried it. In fact, Akid did go back to 2 days before the accident. Everyone was having breakfast. Sarah was getting ready to take Aziz to school. Akid stops her and says, Aziz won't go to school today. Sarah replies, why are you behaving so childishly? He has an exam today. If he misses it, he'll fail. I will take him. She tells Aziz to wait while she goes to the bathroom. Akid then tells Aziz, son, there's no school today. Go outside and play. Aziz happily goes out to play, and Akid feels relieved thinking he has saved both. But suddenly, he hears Sarah scream from the bathroom. He runs there and sees that she slipped, hit her head, and died from heavy bleeding. Meanwhile, Aziz, who was playing outside, falls from the stairs, hits his head badly, and also dies on the spot. Akid cries bitterly that even this plan couldn't save his family. Then, after composing himself, he time travels even further back to Aziz's 7th birthday. Akid is sitting quietly. Sarah asks, won't you have some cake? He replies, no, I don't want any. Sarah says, okay, I'll cook your favorite dish, and goes into the kitchen. Aziz follows her playfully and keeps turning the gas knob on and off. This causes a malfunction. The gas cylinder explodes, and both die in the blast. Imagine Akid's condition, watching his wife and child die in different ways each time. He becomes hysterical with grief. But even then, he refuses to accept fate and continues to time travel again and again, changing small things, trying to save Sarah and Aziz. One time, Akid even time travels to his son's school to save him, but a child accidentally stabs Aziz with scissors. He dies again. Another time, Akid successfully saves both and takes them away, but they end up dying in another car accident. Another attempt. Aziz mistakenly ingests pesticide and dies. In the next one, someone stabs Akid himself in the neck and kills him. Akid then goes to the man to whom he once gave money for rent, who later ran over Sarah and Aziz, their first death. Akid warns him not to leave the house or he'll kill him. Even this doesn't prevent their death. In another timeline, Aziz falls from the bed and dies. In yet another, both are stabbed to death. Despite all his attempts, 150 times, Akid never manages to save them. As his father said, no matter how many times he uses his power, he can never change destiny. Back in the present, Akid tells the doctor he has tried to save Sarah and Aziz around 150 times, using every possible way, but failed each time. Over the past year, he has kept going back to the past using his time travel ability to save them, but every plan failed. Finally, one time, Akid leaves the police station at the right moment, jumps off a bridge onto a truck, then jumps onto a moving bike and reaches the accident spot just minutes before it happens. But he's faced with a terrible choice. He can only save one, either Sarah or Aziz. Torn, Akid ultimately chooses to save his wife, Sarah, leaving Aziz to die. But after that, Sarah becomes numb from grief. She's heartbroken and keeps asking Akid, "Why did you save me? Why not our son?" Akid doesn't tell her the truth. Days pass, and one day Sarah confronts him. "You have the power to time travel. Why haven't you used it to save our son?" Akid says, "Because I promised you I wouldn't use it again." But seeing his white hair and wrinkles, Sarah realizes he's lying. "You've time traveled many times, haven't you? And you're hiding it from me." Akid then confesses everything, that he's traveled back more than 100 times, tried countless ways to save both of them, and in the end chose to at least save her. He reminds her of a time when Sarah had to choose between a big career opportunity and marrying him. At that time, she said, "I need time to think," but then decided, "Even if I lose this opportunity, I won't lose Akid." She had chosen him. But now, Sarah regrets it. "I shouldn't have said yes that day. If we hadn't married, I wouldn't be going through this pain." She becomes mentally unstable and keeps asking Akid to try again and save their son. Akid's dilemma is beyond words. On one side is his wife whom he loves more than life itself, and on the other is his own son, his own blood. Whom should he save? Sarah's daily taunts and grief become unbearable. Finally, Akid decides that this time he will not save Sarah, but save Aziz instead. Once again, he jumps off the bridge onto a truck, then onto a bike, and races to the accident spot. And just as he arrives, he leaves Sarah to die and saves his son Aziz. A few days pass. A distance develops between Akid and Aziz. In anger, Akid even slaps Aziz, which makes Aziz hate him deeply. In the present, Akid is telling all this to the doctor. He says, "When I was a child and discovered that I had the power..." In the present, Akid is telling all this to the doctor. He says, "When I was a child and discovered that I had the power to time travel, I thought it was a divine gift. But later I realized it was the biggest curse I ever received." Then we go into a flashback. One day, Akid's mother wants to take Aziz outside for a walk, but Akid refuses, saying, "What if he falls and gets hurt? His bleeding won't stop." His mother replies, "I understand your concern, son, but it's not right to keep a child locked in like a caged bird. He'll go mad stuck at home. I'll take him out to see the city and bring him back safely." Akid agrees. Before leaving, his mother tells him, "What has passed never returns. Remember this. You must pay attention to that." But outside, Aziz gets injured and needs a blood transfusion. However, his blood group is rare and not in stock. The hospital says they are trying to arrange it from elsewhere, but it will take time. Hearing this, Akid again tries to travel to the past, but his mother stops him and says, "Son, have you forgotten what your father said? A flower is destined to wither. Don't try to change fate." Shocked, Akid asks, You know that I've time traveled to the past many times?" She replies, "Yes, son. Your father was stubborn, but you're even more so." Then comes a shocking twist from Akid's mother. At the beginning of the story, we saw that when Akid was sleeping, his mother woke him up saying they needed to go buy fertilizer and plants. When Akid came outside ready, his mother was crying. His father told him she was unwell and wouldn't come with them. Back then, it wasn't revealed why she was crying. Now it's revealed. That day, Akid and his father went to buy plants and fertilizer. A thief snatched a girl's purse and ran. Akid chased him, but the thief stabbed him, and Akid died. Akid's father ran after them, saw his son dying, and was devastated. Father too had tried over 100 times to save Akid, but all attempts failed. His father had given up his own life to save Akid. That's why Akid's mother was crying that day. This twist is something you probably didn't expect. Fate cannot be changed. Akid finally accepts that this is his destiny, and he shouldn't try to alter it anymore. He calms down and focuses on his job. One day, the man whom Akid had once helped financially, who later hit Sarah and Aziz in the accident, requests to meet him. Akid agrees and goes to the jail to meet him. The man's son is also present. The man tells Akid, "Sir, the money you gave me helped me start a small business. I earned well and raised my son properly. But in return, I ended up killing your wife and son in an accident. Believe me, sir, it was truly an accident. I didn't do it on purpose." Before the man can finish, Akid says, "I forgive you. I'm not angry with you anymore. What happened was written in fate. You're not at fault. I will even withdraw the case against you. Raise your son well, educate him, and help him succeed in life. Stop blaming yourself for the death of my wife and son." After saying these mature words, Akid leaves. It is then revealed why Akid had been seeing this doctor. The police department had noticed significant changes in his behavior. To assess his mental health, they had sent him to this doctor. Now the doctor says, "You've told me everything about yourself. Now tell me, what should I report to your department? What are your plans ahead?" Akid replies, "Thank you for listening to me so patiently, doctor. I know exactly what I have to do." He then leaves the clinic. While driving, Akid keeps thinking about everything that has happened. Lost in thought, he crashes his car into a large pole. But in that moment, he actually time travels again. This time to the moment when he had slapped his son Aziz. But this time, he doesn't get angry. He talks to Aziz lovingly, asks him, "Aren't you getting bored sitting at home, son? Want to go out for a walk?" Aziz gets very happy. Akid takes him out, plays with him, takes him to a nice restaurant, feeds him, chats joyfully with him, and later brings him home. After putting him to sleep, Akid time travels again, this time to Aziz's 7th birthday. He asks Aziz to cut the cake, records a video, and asks, "What's your wish, son?" Seeing Akid's strange behavior, Sarah becomes suspicious. She thinks, he wasn't like this before. What's going on? She asks Akid, but he replies, "I'm fine, nothing's wrong." Sarah still senses something odd. Akid then travels to the moment where it all began, the moment when his father was stabbed by the thief. He arrives there. His father is shocked to see him, because Akid is now much older than him. When Akid was speaking with the doctor, he was around 45. But now, having time traveled nearly 20 to 25 years into the past, his age shows. He's weak, frail, and can barely walk. Suddenly, he collapses into his father's arms and says, "Dad, please forgive me." He then asks, "That day, why didn't you time travel to the past and save yourself? You were alive for a while after the attack. You could have gone back." But his father didn't use his time travel powers because he knew that if he didn't die that day, Akid would die instead. So he chose to sacrifice his life to save Akid. Akid collapses in his father's arms and says, "Dad, please forgive me. I finally understand what you gave up for me. You sacrificed everything so I could live. I kept trying to save my wife and son, never realizing you had already done the same for me. I never appreciated it. I'm sorry." Saying this, Akid dies in his father's arms. After his death, nothing happens to his father. He survives. Everything happens exactly as fate intended. His father, just once, tries to go back in time to change something, but his wife stops him. She tells him, "No, we can never defeat fate. Our destiny is to live without him. That's the life we've been given." And with that, the movie ends.